Hey there, I, Sam Valentino, private toon detective, want to talk a bit about a controversial milestone in Cartoon Network's history. Some of you may remember 2007, when the network's infamous live-action and animated sitcom, Out of Jimmy's Head, premiered. It was often advertised as promotional material as Cartoon Network's first live-action series. But that was a lot of malarkey. Their first original live-action series actually came 11 years earlier in 1996 and was also one of their first attempts at creating a show for preschoolers. I'm talking about Big Bag, premiering on this day 30 years ago, and it was a co-production by Cartoon Network and Sesame Workshop, known at the time as the Children's Television Workshop. Running for 2 seasons, Big Bag was created by the late Nina Elias Spanberger, who was also producer on several Sesame Street productions outside of main series, such as direct-to-video productions and specials like Sesame Street Stays Up Late, aka Sesame Street Celebrates Around the World, known on this channel for the YouTube poop Sesame Street's alcohol-free New Year's Eve party. And like Sesame Street, Big Bag used a similar device of a main story broken into segments, sandwiching some animated shorts, referred to as shorties, and coming from all across the world. This included Troubles the Cat, made here in the USA, and Koki, a clay animated series similar to Pingu but with chickens and made in Spain. In the first season, some imported shows included William's Wish Wellingtons from England, Slim Pig from Canada and Ireland, Tobias Tots and his Lion from Germany, and Samuel and Nina from Australia. As you may have seen on this channel, there's been a couple YouTube poops of Slim Pig and one of Samuel and Nina. In the second season, we had the Ace and Avery shorts, created and produced by John Dilworth at his Stretch Film Studios, known for creating Courage the Cowardly Dog. A noted aspect of Big Bag was its intended interactivity with the kid viewers, kind of like what Blue's Clues is known for at the time, but taking it a little further by highly recommending the kids at home watch with their own bags filled with a pair of socks, a cardboard tube, a hat, and a pair of spoons. Some episodes also required a towel be in the bag, leading to some confusion. The characters in the main story would cue the kids to use one of their items when the story called for it, to kind of play along with the show, along with the Troubles the Cat segments inviting the kids to use their cardboard tubes as a trouble scope, alongside Troubles using hers. The live-action stories featured a human general store proprietor named Molly, and her Muppet friends Chelly and Bag. Chelly was performed by Joey Mazzarino, basically using the same voice he later used for Murray Monster on Sesame Street.
Get your paper bags ready, guys! Today we're going exploring! Hi, I'm Murray from Sesame Street, and I'm looking for the word on the street!
Bag was performed by Ricky Boyd, sounding a lot like Beaker of the Muppet Labs. In some early episodes, Bag was referred to in promotional material as a female, but in other cases Bag referred to as a male character, which makes sense since Beaker is male and has an identical voice. I'm surprised Ricky Boyd never performed as Beaker at one time, because Steve Whitmire or David Rudman were unavailable. There are also 2 literal sock puppets, the New Yorkese Lyle and the Scottish Argyle. And in the first season, they just hung out in the stockroom's sock bin. But in the second season, they interact with the main characters more outside of the stockroom. And Lyle often loved to tell Argyle knock-knock jokes, putting his own spin on them.
Sock sock!
Additionally, the first season had a bunch of recurring human characters, such as kid friends Kim and Joey, exercise instructor Trudy, mail carrier Josie, crossing guard Bernard, veterinarian Dr. Furball, and wacky inventor extraordinaire Waldo. This is also where the common formula of the first season set in. During each episode, Josie would bring in a videotape at one point interviewing real kids on a nice thing they did that day, and this would always be before either a William's Wish Wellingtons or Slim Pig short. Trudy would lead the other characters, along with the kid viewers at home, in an exercise routine, as part of incorporating fun physical activity into the show's curriculum. Dr. Furball would bring in some kind of young live animal to show everyone, and Waldo would reveal he created a new purpose for an already existing device, such as an umbrella being used as a carousel for stuffed toys, a pants hanger for displaying works of art on, etc. There would also be a Big Bag Beat music video before the Cokie segment, also persuading the kid viewers at home to get up and dance along with them. The show was taped at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Orlando, Florida, known at the time as Disney MGM Studios, and featuring actual motion picture and television facilities. It performed fairly well in the first season, airing on Sunday mornings alongside another preschool series Cartoon Network came up with, Small World, similarly showcasing several animated shorts for little kids all across the world, but with no live-action wraparounds, including the real Pingu cartoons. Also, like Sesame Street, the first season of Big Bag originally ran in an hour-long time slot, and uniquely for Cartoon Network, it had no commercial breaks, obviously taking a cue for PBS Kids and Nick Jr. But then, after a year and a half of reruns, the second season premiered in spring 1998, with numerous changes. Aside from the cartoon shorts, as I've already mentioned, the show was reduced from an hour-long time slot to just a half hour, very much like what would happen with Sesame Street when they moved to HBO first run over 10 years ago. And still that way after going back to PBS and Netflix for first run. But it still aired without commercials. They also introduced a new character, a humanoid Muppet girl named Sophie, who got her name from a contest the Children's Television Workshop held the previous fall. With the exception of Molly, the recurring human cast members were all dropped, even though I've seen at least one of the actors, Cullen Douglas, who portrayed Waldo, Dr. Furball, and Bernard, still play incidental customers in the general store. They also began to implement some cheesier aspects, like animated elements being able to come from the Bag Muppet character, or cutaways of kids using the items from the bag just as the show directed them to. There was also a famous episode this season where Elmo from Sesame Street visits the general store, revealing he and Shelley are pen pals. Yep, this is the first time Elmo appeared on Cartoon Network. Well, before that, Elmo's Playdate special involving Elmo and his Sesame pals dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic via virtual playdates aired in 2020. But even with that, because of all the changes implemented in the second season, several felt that this was when Big Bag jumped the shark, as they put it. And not surprisingly, it was cancelled after that season. To add insult to injury, the first season episodes were also edited down to a half hour, removing certain live-action framing story aspects of roughly half of the animated cartoon shorts, even completely doing away with the Tobias Tot segments. After the summer of 1998, they would just bury the show in a very early Sunday morning time slot, like around 5:30 or 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it remained in such a slot until after 2000, just withering away. Additionally, a good chunk of this show is now considered lost media. The reason being because only a handful of episodes officially got released on VHS in the late 90s, 3 from the first season and 2 from the second season. Also, a few home recordings have since resurfaced online, but at least a couple of the first season episodes found are just the half-hour cut-downs from season 2 onward reruns. And the low ratings the show soon got in the second season, combined with the rights for the imported foreign cartoons they showed, mean it's very unlikely Sesame Workshop and Cartoon Network would want to re-release it somewhere again. It wasn't even dusted off for Cartoon Network's second attempt at a preschool block in 2005, the short-lived Tickle U. And just forget about Cartoonito, even if they show the animated Sesame spin-off Sesame Street Mecha Builders. Some of the individual shorts can be found in other places, which is why the channel owner here was able to do that Slim Pig YouTube poop a while back. Regarding that, Slim Pig actually did have a revival produced in 2005, but this time Cheeky Little Media did it themselves without Sesame Workshop, and all the voices were recast, including prominent Canadian voice actress Kathleen Barr as the mouse, and it was also produced in widescreen high definition. It's too bad Cartoon Network didn't consider showing the revival Slim Pig episodes on their Tickle U block at that time. It could have come full circle then. But yeah, unlike Out of Jimmy's Head, the live action in Big Bag was more or less similar to a framing device for the animated shorts. Kind of like Hanna-Barbera's The Banana Splits, also airing in reruns of Cartoon Network at that time. There was also an England counterpart to the show, where Shelley had a really weird, girly voice.
Well then, perhaps it's a monster?
And a French localization that apparently, from what I heard, ran a little longer than the American version did. But even if it's 30 years old now, it'd be interesting to see more of Cartoon Network's largely lost first live-action original series see the light of day. While a few of those controversial CN Real shows, I wouldn't mind if they stay mostly lost. Heck, those didn't even have animated elements the way Big Bag and Out of Jimmy's Head did, even if they try their hardest to reference those cartoons once in a while. Ooh, really, Cartoon Network? Using this common Halloween wolf mask to try and pass it off as a Wile E. Coyote cosplay, and dude, what would happen? Ugh. But there you have it. While we keep searching for more of the elusive first live-action Cartoon Network original series, you should keep watching this channel for more such updates from me or my other cartoon friends.